living
versus surviving Christmas.
Today, maybe we have a conversation about a number of peculiar aspects that would make Christmas not Christmasing.
Yes, it's not Christmasing for some people.
Yeah, for some people.
Yeah.
The worst of them is death. Death of a loved one, of a spouse.
Yeah, yeah.
There could be divorce.
Yeah.
Separation. Death could include things like stillbirth, loss of a baby. Could include
miscarriage,
early death,
even an abortion.
A candidate, somebody who was doing the exam, just graduated, almost graduating.
Correct.
Could involve separation. We can begin with issues like those. Separation. Couples who feel that they are at a point where they are constantly arguing, they are constantly fighting, they are agreeing about nothing.
Yes.
And they are wondering, who is this now?
Yes, correct.
Who is this now?
You marry a person, they look all nice and good, and you love them, and you think that you married the angel, but then after a while, you're like, I cannot live with this person, right? Now, and this is where, Father, I want you to bring your expertise in as a priest, and I'm taking the place of an ignorant lay person, okay? And this is the question, Father, that comes in. Yani, when I marry somebody and I realize I don't want to spend the rest of my life with this person, the church says, unfortunately, my brother, my sister, you are bound with this person. They're happy. Me, I'm stuck here with my wife.
Okay, I'll say a number of things.
Right.
One, there is a big aspect of spiritual warfare. Have you ever noticed how when you become serious with your faith, you start getting struggles?
Right.
Like between now and Lent, I go to the supermarket, I have no struggle with any sweets or anything.
Right.
But wait until I decide Lent, I'm going to fast chocolate. I've not had a chocolate in like 2 weeks. But the day I decide I'm fasting chocolate, then it becomes. Have you ever noticed how when you start to pray the rosary, sleep comes from nowhere? If we start praying the rosary right now, I will struggle with sleep.
Right.
Go for mass and they sleep. So there's a spiritual warfare.
Correct.
Yeah. And part of the reason there's a big fight, not just a spiritual, but it seems there is a very intentional war against the family. Yeah.
Right.
So that could be an aspect. Subtle as it may be, and we know that the evil one, the angel who spoke to Satan, we talked about him in the first episode. He likes it when we forget that he's there.
Yes.
So he acts in the shadows. So I'm blaming so and so and so and so and so and so, but we are not seeing his work.
Correct.
So there could be a part that they don't have a struggle because there's no spiritual war for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Couples have many times been very good, but until they enter the sacrament of matrimony, then they start fighting. They're like, why did we even then go into the sacrament?
Correct.
But they forget that aspect of spiritual warfare. Then there's an aspect of we have often encountered a situation where people thought they had irreconcilable differences. They even divorce legally, but not in the church.
Not in the church.
Someone goes and tries a marriage and thinks they're happy for a while, but doesn't work.
Yeah.
Goes and tries a different, thinks they're happy, but eventually, after a number of years,
they reconcile.
Meet. Yeah. I read the story of a couple that was on their deathbed after many years of trying other marriages, and so the wife heard that that the man was sick in bed, so they went to just see the mile. He used to be. Let me just go and say hi. And
right.
And when they were there, they actually were honest with each other.
Yeah.
They were like, honestly, I never met anybody who loved me as
the way you did. Yeah.
I never myself loved anybody.
Correct.
Looking back, it was just ego. Now, after all those experiences, I can see it was just my ego. It was I was not wise enough.
Yes.
If we would have found a way of working through those, maybe
we could have actually been happier.
So
right.
There's a law to, and that's why the church will always try and encourage. So there are grounds for separation. I think there are about 3. One is physical abuse.
Physical abuse.
Yeah. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, both, and then gross infidelity.
Gross infidelity. Right. That is so continuous, like it is so chronic.
It's chronic.
Yes. Now there's some. Right. So obvious. Okay.
Evidence this.
Yeah. Now there's something you said. You said there are grounds for separation. right? So can you help us to understand, therefore, in a family, how do I understand separation, divorce, and annulment? What are the differences?
Annulment. Annulment is now where the couple is completely discontented for many things.
Yes.
Or they enter into marriage, then a truth comes out that was hidden, like the consent. There was a problem with consent, or a problem with a hidden truth, or
impediments. Okay, yeah.
Impediments for marriage.
Yeah.
So once those are there, and the person is not willing anymore to be in this marriage.
Correct.
Then they go into a tribunal.
Yeah.
And it is proven that they actually did not have
Yes.
a wedding in the first place.
Right.
There could be simple things. An example is there is a story told of a couple that had a beautiful wedding. The man was pushed by the family, which was even first of all, an impediment.
Yes, there's no freedom.
There's no freedom.
But
even more, they never consummated.
Right.
After they stayed together.
Consummated, by the way, is having sex. Just because if you didn't know, father wouldn't say that I will. Okay, please, they didn't consummate.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they didn't consummate.
Yeah.
They stayed together 2 years. They separated, and it is when now the lady who now found somebody else, and they wanted to be happy with him. And then when they went to the tribunal, so they never had sex, because this guy, he was not straight.
You're right. Oh wow.
He was heterosexual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he did nothing happen.
Right.
So
right.
That did not even need that is annulment, because there was no wedding to be.
There was no wedding to
Then
be.
there is separation.
Correct.
Separation is where there is a valid wedding,
Yes.
a valid marriage.
Yeah.
The two people are not with anybody else out there. They are not interested with anybody else, but they cannot live together.
They cannot live
So
together.
they are given room to live away from each other, but to continue partaking in the sacrament of life.
Yes.
With an idea that at one point,
They might
given
reconcile.
time,
Yeah.
they might reconcile.
Now, therefore, that's just as an nikuulize, yeah? So let me say I'm in that state,
Yes.
okay? In this state of separation, there's been 2 years. Right now, during that time, we have not continued consummating, okay? And now I find a different girl, okay? And I'm attracted to this girl. She's beautiful. She loves my children that maybe my wife left me with, okay? Now you're telling me I cannot now marry this girl because my marriage is still valid? And if I do, what happens? Yani,
If you do, well, you might live together, you might be happy.
yes,
But both of you cannot be
access
admitted
the sacrament.
to the Holy Eucharist.
Right, right. Oh, wow.
Because one of the main conditions is that for a prerequisite to receive the Eucharist is a state of grace.
Yes,
And that requires confession.
yes.
But when you go for confession, you're able to one of the conditions for confession is that I will not sin again.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm going back to
The same
the
sin.
situation.
Right.
Yeah? So you cannot completely say I will not sin again.
Right.
So then confession is not valid.
Correct.
Then you cannot go to Holy Communion.
Yes.
Until now, this one who had a previous bond, and is not just marriage, is a bond, even priesthood or religious orders. Somebody who has made a final profession cannot validly engage in marriage until they are released from their previous bond.
Absolutely.
So to answer you, yes, it will be possible in point, but they have to go through a tribunal.
They have to go through a tribunal.
Seats. First of all, the person goes to a legal divorce, then sits with the tribunal, and they determine that yes, there was no marriage.
There was no marriage.
And in most cases, you find that there was something at the beginning that was not as it should have been.
Correct.
It is nullified, and then the two are. And my cue, the very reason why the church will insist this is to safeguard the unity of this marriage.
Yes, the beauty of the marriage. Absolutely.
To safeguard the new marriage. Even the reason why we announce bans is to safeguard. People will say, no, we don't want our bans to be announced, but it's just to safeguard. A story was we handled a situation some years back where a lady, a gentleman was a distance. They were from far places together, different places. And so the man goes and the bans are announced, and when they come back, it seems there's an error in the name. But he says, no, the catechist there maybe changed the name of it. And they wrote the name of my mother in place of the name of my wife, and so So it was later found out, but that the bans, when they were announced, they didn't announce the name, so they didn't recognize. They thought the bans had been announced for the actual wife who is there, but they had another wife in the village.
Allah.
She was married, and the mother was married. So but that was found out much later.
There was another pre-existing bond.
Yeah, and so
this bond was invalid. Right. So basically, when you're looking for a husband or wife, make sure that you do the due diligence just like you would before investing.